Good morning, good evening, good night, whenever you guys are watching this channel. First, subscribe. I don't know if you guys seen this State of the Union here President Biden gave yesterday, March the 1st. And it seemed like it was about 5 hours long, but I think it was about an hour. But it was a lot of clapping going on, I guess, to cover up for some of the mistakes they thought he was going to make. He did make a few, so it seemed like after every minute or minute and a half, they got up and started clapping. Kamala Harris and Nancy Pelosi, they're up clapping all the time. So, but he pointed out a few things, and I'm gonna watch this with you guys, and you tell me what you think about this. It was a lot of disappointed people, especially it was a few Democrats like AOC and a few other people. They were disappointed because he didn't bring up points that they thought he should bring up. But let's watch this together, and you tell me what you think. You can fast forward this if you want. You could turn it off, but like I said, I cannot stand watching all of this, and so I'm gonna make it short for you guys. I'm gonna give you about 12, maybe 13 minutes of this, and I'm gonna insert some more stuff from after the speeches that AOC talked about and a few other things. But let's watch this together, and you leave some comments and tell me what you think.
My fellow Americans, last year, COVID-19 kept us apart. This year, we're finally together again. 6 days ago, Russia's Vladimir Putin sought to shake the very foundations of the free world, thinking he could make it bend to his menacing ways. But he badly miscalculated. He thought he could roll into Ukraine and the world would roll over. Instead, he met with a wall of strength he never anticipated or imagined. He met the Ukrainian people. So let us continue to draw inspiration from the iron will of the Ukrainian people. To our fellow Ukrainian Americans who forged the deep bond that connects our two nations, we stand with you. We stand with you. Putin may circle Kyiv with tanks, but he'll never gain the hearts and souls of the Iranian people. He'll never extinguish their love of freedom, and he will never weaken the resolve of the free world. President Zelensky said in his speech to the European Parliament, "Light will win over darkness." The Ukrainian ambassador to the United States is here tonight, sitting with the First Lady. Let each of us, if you're able to stand and send an unmistakable signal to the world of Ukraine. Thank you. Putin's latest attack on Ukraine was premeditated and totally unprovoked. He rejected repeated efforts at diplomacy. He thought the West and NATO wouldn't respond. He thought he could divide us at home, in this chamber, in this nation. He thought he could divide us in Europe as well. But Putin was wrong. We are ready. We are united, and that's what we did. We stayed united. We're coming for you, ill-begotten gains. And tonight, I'm announcing that we will join our allies in closing off American airspace to all Russian flights, further isolating Russia and adding additional squeeze on their economy. When we use taxpayers' dollars to rebuild America, we're going to do it by buying America. Buy American products. Support American jobs. To make sure everything from the deck of an aircraft carrier to the steel on highway guardrails is made in America from beginning to end. All of it. All of it. To compete for the jobs of the future, we also need a level playing field with China and other competitors. That's why it's so important to pass the Bipartisan Innovation Act sitting in Congress that will make record investments in emerging technologies and American manufacturing. One way to fight inflation is to drive down wages and make Americans poorer. I think I have a better idea to fight inflation. Lower your costs, not your wages. That means make more cars and semiconductors in America, more infrastructure and innovation in America, more goods moving faster and cheaper in America, more jobs where you can earn a good living in America, Instead of relying on foreign supply chains, let's make it in America. Let's provide an investment tax credits to weatherize your home and your business, to be energy efficient and get a tax credit for it. Double America's clean energy production in solar, wind, and so much more. Lower the price of electric vehicles, saving another $80 a month that you're not going to have to pay at the pump.
You know, I think that it definitely was a lost opportunity. You know, when we talk about releasing strategic reserves, these are short-term solutions in order to prevent price shocks. But at the end of the day, if we are really building out infrastructure or only speaking to ways in which we are going to be increasingly reliant on fossil fuels, we're only going to, I think, contribute to increased volatility in the future. You know, what's happening right now, Russia is very, very much reliant on the rest of the world buying its oil. We are releasing oil reserves right now in order to ease that, but we shouldn't be reliant on fossil fuels to begin with, and that would really solve a lot of these issues. So, you know, I think that there's a lot more to be desired there. EVs, while they are great, they are not the main form of transit for millions of people who live in urban or urban adjacent areas in the United States. And so we need to hear more about our transition to clean energy beyond just weatherizing our windows, which is incredibly important, and EVs. But we really need to hear more, I think, about mass transit, trains, high-speed rail, and renewable energy.
But my plan doesn't stop there. It also includes home and long-term care, more affordable housing, pre-K for 3- and 4-year-olds. All these will lower costs for families. And under my plan, nobody, let me say this again, nobody earning less than $400,000 a year will pay an additional penny in new taxes. By the end of this year, the deficit will be down to less than half of what it was before I took office. The only president ever to cut the deficit by more than $1 trillion in a single year. Lowering your cost also meant demanding more competition. I'm a capitalist, but capitalism without competition is not capitalism. Capitalism without competition is exploitation. We've reached a new moment in the fight against COVID-19, where severe cases are down to a level not seen since July of last year. Just a few days ago, the Center for Disease Control and Prevention issued a new mask guidelines. Under the new guidelines, most Americans in most of the country can now go mask-free. And based on projections, more of the country will reach a point across the next couple of weeks. And thanks to the progress we've made in the past year, COVID-19 no longer need control our lives. I know some are talking about living with COVID-19, but tonight I say that we never will just accept living with COVID-19. We'll continue to combat the virus as we do other diseases. And because this virus mutates and spreads, we have to stay on guard, giving young people some hope. We should all agree the answer is not to defund the police, it's to fund the police. Fund them. Fund them. Fund them with resources and training. Resources and training they need to protect our communities. I ask Democrats and Republicans alike to pass my budget and keep our neighborhoods safe. And we'll do everything in my power to crack down on gun trafficking of ghost guns that you can buy online, assemble at home, no serial numbers, can't be traced. I ask Congress to pass proven measures to reduce gun violence, pass universal background checks. Why should anyone on the terrorist list be able to purchase a weapon? Why? At our border, we've installed new technology like cutting-edge scanners to better detect drug smuggling. We've set up joint patrols with Mexico and Guatemala to catch more human traffickers. We're putting in place dedicated immigration judges in a significant larger number so families fleeing persecution and violence can have their cases heard faster, and those who don't legitimately hear can be sent back. We're screening, we're securing commitments and supporting partners in South and Central America to host more refugees and secure their own borders. We can do all this while keeping lit the torch of liberty that has led a generation of immigrants to this land, my forebears and many of yours. Provide a pathway to citizenship for dreamers. those with temporary status, farm workers, essential workers. Revise our laws so businesses have workers they need and families don't wait decades to reunite. It's not only the right thing to do, it's economically smart thing to do. That's why the immigration reform is supported by everyone from labor unions to religious leaders to the U.S. Chamber of Commerce. Let's get it done once and for all. Advancing liberty and justice also requires protecting the rights of women. The constitutional right affirmed by Roe v. Wade, standing precedent for half a century, is under attack as never before. If you want to go forward, not backwards, we must protect access to health care, preserve a woman's right to choose, and continue to advance maternal health care for all Americans. For our LGBTQ plus Americans, let's finally get the Bipartisan Equality Act to my desk. The onslaught of state laws targeting transgender Americans and their families, it's simply wrong.
If you were paying attention, Biden not once mentioned black people, African Americans, Negro, anything in that speech. And that is, and I was kept thinking to myself, what a difference 300 days makes.
The State of the Union is strong because you, the American people, are strong. We are stronger today. We are stronger today than we were a year ago. And we'll be stronger a year from now than we are today. This is our moment to meet and overcome the challenges of our time. And we will, as one people, one America, the United States of America. God bless you all, and may God protect our troops. Thank you. Go get him.
Okay, I'm going to cut this off. I'm not going to let you guys suffer any longer. Go get him. I don't know who he was talking about. Maybe you guys can leave in the comments or who he was talking about when he said go get him. But if you guys got the strength and the power to watch this whole State of the Union, I'm not going to even put a link in the description. You're going to have to find it yourself because it's about an hour and a half, 2 hours. And like I told you, most of it is just clapping and standing up, standing down, sitting down. I'm going to let you go. I'm going to play this little part right here where AOC, I'm going to let her close it out for you. Check it out.
I do think that there are some things that were left unsaid in which we're really going to have to work on as a party in order to really speak to constituencies that have historically supported the president, whose turnout we need and whose support we need right now and in the coming years, that perhaps haven't heard their issues spoken to in the way that they wanted to hear it. Things like student loan debt, our overall our larger themes and crises in education, as well as the piece on immigration was really just glossed over. And we have over 10, anywhere between 10 to 13 million immigrants in this country that feel desperate for a path to citizenship. We heard, some speaking to dreamers, but dreamers want their families to be able to stay. They don't want to be separated from their parents either. So I think there are some themes that left a little bit to be desired for key constituencies in the Democratic base, but the president's goal was very clear. He was laser focused on really projecting a theme of unity, and I think he stuck to that.
All right, thanks for watching and subscribe to my channel. And don't forget to leave comments. I would like to read some of the comments and see what you guys are thinking. All right, have a great day.